Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. My name is Jessica Burnham. I am the director of the MADI program, the Master of Arts in Design and Innovation. It is wonderful to be here with you guys tonight. So thank you for coming. And thank you to Elias Pope for opening up all of the doors for us.
All the doors. Half of the doors.
Half of the door.
We would have opened these doors up, but we don't have a permit yet, so there's that.
Yeah, casual.
Yeah.
No big deal.
It's
So
normal.
we get to be here.
Welcome to Opening Restaurant.
Yes, this is what we're going to dive into
This
tonight.
is why we did this, so it's great.
Okay, so you are here because one, you either love someone else that is in this room and are supporting them / the front row for me. But this is a part of what we do in our MADI program. So first, there's lots of things to do tonight. But first, I want to acknowledge need to acknowledge all of the MADI faculty, which is Justin Childress. Justin. And Seth is here. That's Seth. And Ricky is here, who has also been a faculty member here. And then if you are a current student, please raise your hand or do something amazing. Perfect. If you are an alumni, please raise your hand or also do something amazing. Thank you. Look at all of you. And then we also have some great partners that have been here a long time. So Rachel Triska is here. She has been an amazing partner. We got to go to her big luncheon at Volunteer Now today, so we're like doubling up today. Rachel is not only we have lots of lines together, but she is a previous designer in resident, also a previous studio client. So all of the things. And who am I missing? Everybody.
Fans. Just fans.
And fans. If you're a fan of the MADI program, have never taken a class, but just love what we're up to, raise your hand. There we go. All right. Okay, so tonight we're here because as a part of our several programs, we have a thing called the Designer in Residence program, which is where our goal is to kind of blur the academic and professional lines as much as we possibly can. And so what that looks like is we want our academic things to be in professional spaces like lunch and learns and different meetings and things like that. But we also want really professional people to come into our classrooms to be here and to help us. So Justin and I will teach classes like the studio class, which is like the premier class where students have to work on a project from start to finish, the whole human-centered design process with very little guide. I mean, there's support and guidance, but you guys are on your own to figure it out. But then we say we need people who are very content specific for the project that we're working on. So last fall, Rachel with Volunteer Now was our client for our studio class, and we got to work on a project that said, how might we improve the in-store customer experience for the Discount Depot. Anyone know what the Discount Depot is? Oh yeah, there's a few students because you guys. And so if you are on that project, raise your hand or also do something amazing. Nick, Martha, Chloe, Gina, we're missing Stuart. He's at a different event, that's okay. But we got to work on this whole project around understanding what the Discount Depot is. And so every time we work on these big projects, Justin and I have a moment of who's gonna help us? And we kind of have this, okay, what are the adjacent areas that this kind of fuels into? And so we were like, well, this is retail, it's hospitality, there's systems, there's something. I was like, what if we could work with Elias Pope? And so it kind of had this moment, and it was like, who's Elias? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. 100%.
And so we'll get into this, but Elias and I have known each other for a very long time. And so we met, and I said, will you come to coffee north of Northwest Highway? You had never been to that coffee shop.
It was tough. Yeah. No, I got there.
We met at Civil Corps. I said, let's chat. And at first it was like, let's just see if he's available. And then we had coffee, and Elias is a little bit of a yes man to some things, to good things.
Yeah, if you've started anything, you're never available. You just do it.
Yeah.
100%. I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow. We're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
Let's go.
It worked out that Wednesday mornings when we met for class, worked out.
Almost every time.
Yeah, and it was amazing. So we asked Elias to be our designer in resident, and a part of that, this is a long story, the part of that partnership is that Elias committed to coming to class every week to really speak into what is the retail experience, what is the hospitality experience, what is all of that content that Justin and I cannot bring into the classroom, but Elias could to help our students' project. And then with that also is a public event that basically you hosted. And so we're like, what do we want to do just to celebrate this partnership? So that's what we're here doing tonight. So that's why you're here. Thank you for being here. And we're going to talk. Okay? Good?
Good.
Okay.
I'm good.
You're good?
I'm good.
Okay, I don't have like a bio for you.
So I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, that's good.
That's the reality of the situation. We wanted to open this restaurant for you guys and show you what mock services look like. And unfortunately, in the world of getting your permits and all those kind of things, you don't get to define them yourself. You have to go through other properties. And we didn't get it. We are getting it tomorrow, which is exciting. Like, that's real. But unfortunately, today we had to do something different. And that's pretty much what we do in hospitality. So we roll with the punches, and that's what we did. And
it's great.
Tonight we're here.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Illegally.
Yeah.
In this room.
Well, we didn't buy anything in this establishment, so
we
it's
did
okay.
not. We're not supposed to be here, though.
Oh, great.
But I love you
no
guys,
one's here.
and I'm glad we're here.
I
was also not supposed to build that bar or build the kitchen the way we did.
Let's start with what else you were not supposed to do.
No, that's not a good
Okay. Okay. So you kind of started, but tell us, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself a little bit, but give us a little bit more, because not everyone knows you like I know you.
Yeah.
And I don't know you as well as some other people in this room probably know you as well. But give us a little bit of your history, where you came from, kind of grew up, but also with like seeds of like where we are today that were planted back then.
For sure.
Does that make sense? Okay.
So I grew up in Greenville, Texas. It's about 45 minutes east of here. Small little farm. We grew, we breeded Tennessee walking horses, spotted Tennessee walking horses, if that's a thing that you like. And then we had a dairy farm, so I milked cows. I was that guy. So if you're like, oh man, the guy that milked cows before football practice, yeah, I'm that guy. Like that's exactly what happened. So, small little farm. My family, entrepreneurs, they have small businesses in Greenville that are great and supported the family. I worked there my entire life. One set of my uncles had a group of restaurants in East Texas called the Hot Biscuit. So if you were in Nacogdoches or anywhere in that side of town, like they had a few of those. My other uncle had a restaurant downtown Greenville, Texas, and man, I just fell in love with that. So every Sunday, the family, me, my cousins, uncles, everybody would go to one of the ranches in Greenville. So we had a ranch at Jacobia and different things. And we'd all go there Sunday after church. We'd work in the fields, clean, stalls, mend fences, and then everybody would bring food and we put it outside on fold-up tables, and we grab tortillas, we grab meat and vegetables, and we just eat them. And that was my upbringing. And it wasn't sexy. Everybody's like, oh man, farms are cool. No, they're not, man. It's a lot of work.
They're stinky.
Dirty. We didn't grow award-winning vegetables. Like if we had corn that you could eat, that was exciting. Like that was cool. And so we did that. And man, I just fell in love. Like that connection was fun for me. And I really enjoyed every part of that. My dad told me not to go to college because I wasn't collegiate and I wasn't very good at following through with things, and he was absolutely right. And my mom was like, you have to go to college. So I went to school for 2 semesters and realized I wasn't collegiate. Not because I wasn't interested in things, I just wasn't interested in the things people wanted me to be interested in. And what I was interested in was working. Like that was it. Like getting my hands dirty and figuring things out. And so I did that. I loved hospitality, and so I asked one of my professors, actually he taught jazz class at UTA, and I said, hey man, do you know anything about hospitality or restaurants or whatever? That's what I would do. And he said, you know what, I actually know this brand Saltgrass Steakhouse that just opened their 8th shop here in South Arlington, and really like that crew. There's a connection there. And so I said, okay, cool, I'm gonna do that. So I went, got hired, and that was it. That was I decided everything about this place was what I wanted to do. The founders were amazing. They came from Pappas, if you know, the Texas brand that created the greatest restaurateurs in Texas, or the Pappas family. And those guys came from that. They taught me what authentic vision for concept was. They really cared about us. They cared about what they were building, and they wanted to build a steakhouse that was for not only the ranch owner but the ranch hand. Like that was the thing, right? And it was approachable steakhouse. Like they were in between Roadhouse and a Del Frisco's, and they kind of created that market, and I got to do that with them, which was super exciting. So started with those guys when I was a kid, 19 or something. Halfway through, decided, okay, cool, I'm going to do this full time. We're going to get into it, and then started management with them at 23. 27, ran their training store, and then Landry's, a guy named Tillman Fertitta. If y'all know the Fertitta brothers, there's a Fertitta cousins own the UFC. They built that. A lot of mob ties, which is kind of fun, but also they own some Vegas properties. He bought the space, and I was lucky enough to travel, and he has a appetite for purchasing different restaurant groups, and his skill as a financier is exceptional, and I learned a lot from that. So I got to do more in Chicago and Ocean Air and McCormick and Schmick's and the Golden Nugget Takeover, all those kind of things when I was younger. And all of the great, awesome, fun things, always wanted to open my own restaurant. So Saltgrass decided that I wasn't a good employee by 32. They were like, man, you really want to make this yours, not ours. And I was like, yeah, you're exactly right. Like, it's time. And one of my good friends, this is a fun story that I tell my crew, and I don't know why I'm telling you, but I'm going to tell you. So my good friend was the regional manager at the time, and we had done a lot of fun things together. And he sits me down. New crew was taking over, and he says, hey, man, it's time. It's time for you to go do your own thing. I'm going to give you 45 days. And you are going to be protected. You can go do whatever you want to go do, but you need to go start your own restaurant. You cannot work for me because you are wearing my ass out. Like, I am tired. And I said, okay, cool. So a guy named Joey Beatty, who works with us now, he's a phenomenal operator, took over the restaurant and protected me for 45 days so that I could buy an Apple MacBook, put together a business plan, which is, I didn't even understand what that was, but I Googled it. And started researching people that I loved in the industry, which was Tristan Simon at the time. He did great things with a group called the Andrus Brothers, who owned a lot of property. They're a storied landlord group that their father started with a bodega on actually Greenville Avenue. And long story, but on the 45th day, this is crazy, on the 45th day, I walked into the office of Robert, who was the guy that gave me the 45 days. I handed him my keys. I hugged everybody. I burned all the bridges. They were not going to hire me back. I was not going to be able to do anything else. But I had signed the lease for HG Supply Company on Greenville Avenue that morning. And so in 45 days, I figured out how to sell my vision to a group of individuals that believed in me, enough to get a lease and a set of keys. And on the 46th day, I realized I had no idea what I was doing. And now we're here.
Yeah,
so
great.
That's it.
And you created an empire.
I've created some things.
Yeah.
We've had some massive failures and some really big winners, and it's been exciting.
Yeah. I forgot to do something really important.
Okay.
I forgot to have you all introduce yourselves. So I'm going to ask you guys to introduce yourself all at the same time.
Ooh.
Okay? And all you have to say is your first name and just say hi. On three. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Beast? That was awesome.
Yeah, that's the whole story. Okay. I should have started with that, but yeah.
Okay,
and
cool.
then now you guys know Elias. Now you know everybody else.
Oh, that's good.
Okay,
That's
good.
great.
Okay, good. Okay.
She teaches me these games. Y'all play games.
We do lots of fun things.
Super fun.
It's
been
crazy.
super fun.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
There's lots we can go to. Okay. So in slight preparation for this, I was trying to do right by this night. So there's a lot of things you've been in the news about with restaurants, Eater, whatever, all the what Tina's is the top restaurant top bar from last year. Big accolades. I also, if you do a quick search for Elias Pope, a lot of things pops up for the Pope. So I was like, we got to filter this search a little bit. So, but one story that has always stuck out with me that I think got a lot of press for was how you did a massive pivot with HG Supply Company and COVID. And so I'm going to quote you back to yourself from an article about when you guys created Everybody Eats with COVID. So everyone is in lockdown, and then we're on the new, everyone's home and on lockdown, and on the news is Elias and his whole team handing out food at Hero downtown in American Airlines Center area. And it's like, oh my God, Elias is like doing the thing, and everyone's like, no, we can't talk to anybody, but Elias is out feeding everyone. And so in the article, it says it's our duty and responsibility to help our fellow industry friends and anyone else out there in need. So that quote wants me, I asked, my question is, what, I'm like really falling off
You're
the
killing
chair,
it. No,
sorry.
that's great.
Where did this sense of duty and responsibility to serve others come from?
Okay, cool. All right, so.
You can cry tonight
No,
if you want
I'm
to.
not going to cry. Now I have pressure to cry. Yeah, why am I not tearing up? Okay, man, when you get into hospitality, you do it because you love it. There's a lot of finance guys that are in hospitality and they buy other people and blah, blah, blah. Founder-led hospitality is special. And when you go to a founder-led institution, whether it be a Chick-fil-A or a Texas Roadhouse or, Beverly's, which is, I love that guy. There's a lot of great founder-led institutions in Dallas. It's different. It's not because we want to work 20 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's because we love serving others. Like that's it. And so when the backstory of the pandemic piece is fun. I like to say this story, so I'm glad you said it. Yeah. In 2019, I, in my infancy as a restaurateur, decided to triple the size of my company. And I did that with a small group of investors, me, and a big dream that I didn't have the capacity to truly execute. But we were all riding high, and we decided to do something big. So we opened a 24,000 square foot sports bar called Hero in Victory Plaza. I did a ground up 24,000 square foot, 3 restaurant space in Trophy Club, right off of 114. And we built a 9-acre office restaurant complex in Heath, Texas, called Standard Service, and there's some offices around it. We opened every single one of those within 3 months of each other, and Standard being the last one. Standard opened 3 weeks before the shutdown. Jeez. So we built this company, and it was great, and it was fun, and we were doing a great job, and there was cash flow, which was awesome. And then we decided to triple it, which sounds great until the government shuts you down. And so we bet everything on this scenario and realized that 2 days after the shutdown, we're in a room and we don't know what to do. We don't have a clue. There's no PPP. There's no plan. There's just, hey guys, everybody has to stop talking to everybody. That's what we're gonna do. So we got in a room and we were talking to each other without masks on. We were totally fine. We did have a couple of bottles of tequila with us, and which was fun. And we looked at each other and we were like, what do we do? Like, okay, cool. So I called the Sawgrass guys. Sawgrass guys were like, man, we're cutting everybody. Everybody's getting 50% pay. We're doing this. And then I called, a bunch of friends in the industry, and they were like, man, we're just gonna cut. We're gonna cut. We ignorantly, and I'm gonna say that very clearly, said, we have $1.2 million in the bank in cash. How long does that get us to employ everybody at full wage? And we put the numbers together, and it was like 2.5 months. And we're like, okay, let's do that. Wow. And so we decided, okay, cool. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna serve. That's what we're gonna do. And everybody came together and decided, okay, we're gonna call this contact, that contact, this contact. And while we can't serve the guest, we're gonna serve the people that have made all of us into what we're at right now, and in the support group in Dallas. And so we turned Hero, the 24,000 square foot, super expensive thing, into a soup kitchen. And we served a couple thousand people a week, and with the great sponsors, so Benny Keith, like everybody was like, yeah, let's go do that. And we were able to keep every single one of our team members employed. We were able to give everybody 40 hours at a reasonable pay. We didn't cut any salaried team member. And we did shut down one restaurant, but we shut down that restaurant so that we could move that entire team to Hero to do Everybody Eats. And we did it. We ran out of money very quickly.
Wow.
And right before we ran out of money, PPP came through.
Wow.
And PPP was meant to pay your team members, whether it be salary or hourly, a livable wage. And instead of us trying to take PPP and putting it to, giving us cash flow again, we just paid it out. And so we paid every penny of PPP out to every single team member. Team members worked 10 hours a week, but got paid for 40. They took care of their families, and we thought we were doing the right thing. And yeah, it's crazy. The cool thing about the story that nobody knows, I'll say this first here.
Are these mics on? Make sure they're recording.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody needs to hear this, but
We
I want to
wanna
say
hear
it. We did all this. We're excited. Well, coming to the end of the pandemic and everything we also have a lot of great patios, and so everybody ate outside, and our revenue didn't really drop. There's a lot of great stories that I could tell, a lot of big wins, and but at the end there was a restaurant fund that you applied. Everybody in the world applied for, and a very select few got it, and we were really close to being done. And we had done the PPP, we paid it all out, so we didn't have any money left. Where everybody else took these loan outs and they just kept it, and they were like, okay, cool, we're just gonna see what happens. I mean, we just paid it, and we got selected. So at the end of the day, man, I was at Taverna with people in this room, and got a text and just started crying. Yeah, now I'm gonna tear up.
Yeah.
And it was big. It's like that one thing, and that's why we're here.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
Well, I was just, I just talked to Donna and some of your team too. Every person I've met in your HQ world has been here for so long.
Yeah.
And if you wouldn't have had that story, a lot of those people wouldn't be here, right? So there's a lot
none of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd be working at Sawgrass
Yeah.
as a waiter, and killing it, by the way.
Killing it. Waiter of the month.
100%. 100%.
Okay, amazing. Okay. Whew, okay, so in the world of human-centered design, which is what we're talking about in MADI, embracing ambiguity and being outcome agnostic, we don't really know what's going to happen, is where we want to be. So we kind of already talked about this, but if there's any more about what it was like being in that room of announcing to everyone, like, okay, here's the deal. Everyone's shutting down, but we're going to keep going. What was that? Were you nervous then? Or was it like, no, this is what I want to do. I know this is the right thing. Or were you afraid, like, people are going to be like, no, we have to wear masks? Like, I mean, what was that like?
The fun thing about being, like, the world of entrepreneurship was not something I ever understood until now. And when you have a few successes, you think you're great. Like, you think you can do it, right? And the boundaries that you had in your mind before, they go away. Yeah. And then when you realize that you can, if you just work hard enough, you can figure it out, it works. And so this group right here, they all understand that. And they know that, hey, if we work hard enough as a team to create an outcome that serves others, we're gonna win.
Yeah.
And we have yet to lose. So in that room, it was joy. Like it was just fun. Like it was exciting. You know, it wasn't one of those things where we were worried about failing. The world failed. Yeah. Like everything had already gone to shit. Like I'm not like, let's win. Let's go win. Let's do something. And so everybody was very eager to go do it. And you know, it was a unanimous, it wasn't my idea, it was a unanimous vote of, hey, we're gonna do what we did. And we have a definition of hospitality in our organization. Hospitality to us is to give of oneself for the betterment of others. Like that's what hospitality is, right? You serve others. And so we did that. And it was a very easy decision. When you know you can't fail, it's super easy. Yeah. Like, and then you fail and it sucks, but you do it again and you win. Like, it's just how it works.
Yeah, I love it. Okay. So to me, this also shows the importance of people around you. When I was writing this, I was like envisioning what you might say. And I was like, he's going to talk about his team. So But I know that teams have shifted and how things have changed from, and you tell me if I'm wrong with this, but it was just HG, then it was 80-20, and now it's UNCO, right? Is that true?
Yep.
Okay. So what is your favorite part of working on a team, and what are things that have surprised you with working with teams?
So my favorite part of the question is that you use the word team, right?
Yeah.
So we're not a family. Everybody's like, oh man, we need to be a family. We need to, I have a lot of family members that I don't want to hang out with. Like I don't want to support. I mean, there's some really good ones and some really bad ones.
Yeah.
We are not a family.
Yeah.
We are a championship team. Like we are looking for the best person to be on the field. And when we put somebody that's not the best next to somebody who's the greatest, it's not fair for them. Like that's what sucks. And so, the reason that we continue to evolve and we were this and now this and now this is because we have a absolute obsession with focusing on the right team. And we read a lot of books about from other great entrepreneurs, and there's a lot of fun sayings that we have, like fire fast, and we do that. Like, man, we hire people that we believe in, and when we realize they're not part of our culture, we fire fast. Like it's that simple. Not because we want to be dicks. Like we want to surround heroes with heroes. Yeah. And when we realize that the culture's wrong, it's not good for that person. It's not good for us. So the evolution from a single entity in HG, and that's a real simple story. I'll tell you. When I opened HG, I wanted to be Tristan Simon, and he's gonna hear this and talk crap to me. But he was a phenomenal restaurateur. He changed Knox and Henderson. The dude defined hospitality in Dallas. Like he's the reason we have all these great chefs here. Then, the greatness of Stephen Piles and Dean Faring and the class under them, they created the chefs that do it. Nick's opening his great restaurant. Like there's so many great people that came from this one group of people. So I wanted to be that. And then when I did that, I did HG, and when we did Remedy with Daniel McPherson, who's my favorite friend and really great chef. And then all these other concepts, I was like, oh, I'm gonna be a restaurateur, and then I realized I don't want to be in the news. Like I don't like this. Like I don't like people talking about me. I don't like people. Like half the people really like my stuff, and then half the people really hate my stuff, and they're like talking about how bad I am. I'm like, man, I don't mind it, but that's not what I'm doing. What I really want to do is grow leaders. Like I want to give people opportunity to do their own thing. So if you're in hospitality, like I want to support you to be a leader. So we changed our whole entire organization post-COVID to be more of a functional training piece. So like we organize all of our concepts, even though they're different concepts, into one organization. We have one management program that everybody follows. So if you run a HG or a Culpeper or whatever, it's the exact same thing, just different food and different beverage. So you know how to do it. And we want, if you start as a dishwasher for us, we want to show you how to be a GM and make $200,000 a year so you can take care of your family. Like that's what we want. And that's the opportunity I got. So we switched it. And everybody talks about chain restaurants being bad and all this stuff. And I thought I wanted to be this thing that I'm not. What I am is, man, I'm behind the scenes, and I really want to figure out how to give everybody an opportunity. And so does the team. So everybody that we work with, you either want to build others, or you want to be a great chef, bartender, or whatever. Yeah. If you want to be that, you're not part of our team. Like it just doesn't work. If you want to build others into those people, then that's what we do. We're way far away from being great. We have a lot to learn. But the organization has changed over time because our priorities have changed. Yeah. Instead of being, there for accolades or best bar awards, we just want to be really good at growing leaders. And so that's what we're trying to do. It's all new, and we're trying to figure it out.
That's awesome. Okay, since I have met you, which has been, I didn't have any kids when I met you. I was pregnant when I met you.
You were.
The first one.
Yeah.
There's 3 now.
I know.
There's a lot of kids.
A lot of kids.
A lot of kids.
I have 6 kids.
You have 6 kids. Elias has 6. Whoa. Who said whoa?
I know.
Yeah, there's a lot of life that can happen and also have all the things.
Well.
Let's talk about what you learned from that.
Oh, yeah.
Zero
We're
things.
not talking about
I have
kids.
learned
No.
zero things from having sex. I keep doing it.
Yeah,
like
I
it's
know.
a problem.
No more kids. Okay.
Learned
Shut it
I'm sorry,
down.
go ahead.
Okay. So since I've met you, and real quick, we met, and this is maybe our students will know this because I tell them all the time. If you just tell someone you're a graduate student, they'll let you in the door, which might not actually, we learned, always be true. But it worked with Elias. And so
It did not work. This is a lie.
No,
100%.
Okay.
I didn't care about your graduate status.
I just a
absolutely
student.
cared about your vision. What you said was so powerful, and I was like, I don't
What?
know who this lady is. Yeah, like you want to do this?
Yeah.
That was cool.
Okay.
Okay,
I've never heard
I
that
love what you
before.
said, and I didn't mean to like poo-poo on your stuff, but
No, it's good.
like no, but the reality is no. We like you wanted to connect what we were doing on Greenville Avenue. That's exactly what I wanted to do, and that aligned.
Okay.
Good story. This is fun.
This is
All right,
good.
cool.
I did not know. I'm gonna cry.
Sorry. No, it's good.
Okay. Real like pivots. This is like a caveat in the movie of like, here's the backflash. Back, is that a word? The back?
I don't-
No. Back. What is it? Flashback. Thank you.
Yeah.
In our house, we talk about a freeze.
Is that a
brain
movie
instead
about
of
firefighters
yeah,
and stuff?
No, that is.
I
true.
don't know.
Yeah, okay. Ooh, we're gonna bring it back. When I was in grad school, my whole thesis and all my work was taking a graphic design vision and putting it into spaces that were not graphic design. So how do you apply a design approach, creative problem solving in spaces that weren't expected for design? And it ended up leaning into, I had a decent friend that said, here's the best advice I can give you. We weren't that close. And I listened to him because he said, you have to remember your passion. Like, why are you here? And so, and it was all with this graphic design background. And he said, what do you care about? What do you actually care about? And it turned out I really love small business. And that landed me on Lois Greenville Avenue. And it turned into this whole space of like, how do we actually understand what's going on and what role does design play in a space that might not think of it that way? And that's how we met. So I ended up thinking, what happens on Lois Greenville Avenue when they had just gone through a massive street renovation? Could there be a relational renovation? And what does that look like? And so I went and talked to all the business owners on the street. And when I talked to Elias, you right away were like, you said, I'm not in the restaurant business, I'm in the hospitality business. And I had just asked my cousin, who was in hospitality, in like hotel hospitality, like very kind of official like hotel hospitality. I was like, are there any books on this? And he had told me, well, there's this one book I kind of heard of by Danny Myers called Setting the Table. And I had just bought that book. And then I met you and you were like, I'm not in the restaurant business, I'm in the hospitality business. And there's this book by Danny Myers. And I was like, wait a minute, it's all connecting. And there was something that instantly happened of, wait a minute, we're not here just to have great food, we're here to make an impact. So.
And I didn't know how to make great food. Like I really had no idea.
Well, this is one of my questions. Are you a cook?
No.
No.
I mean, I can cook. Like I'm not gonna disappoint you.
What's your best meal?
But eggs and stuff. Like no, yeah. If you can make breakfast tacos, you win.
Yeah,
like, that's it.
Totally.
That's all that matters.
Good. Okay. Wait, I got to get back to it. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Well, but when I first met you, I do always feel like there was this sense of Elias is always on brand. So there's this something about you know the brand so well that you can see things that might be adjacent to the brand and see where they fit in. And so tell me a little more about, hold on, I gotta see. Hold on. That you've always been, and this kind of goes back to you being, when I say you're a quick yes man, I think it's because you can see when that makes sense. You're like, yes, let's do it. So where did that come from? Where did this idea to say yes and be okay when a lot of us are in our spaces where everyone's like, no, you're not doing that?
So, man, it sucks because I don't know the quote. It's like a president,
Somebody awesome
Thomas Jefferson
said it.
or something,
Yeah, sure.
said that if you don't know how to do it, say yes, and then work your ass off until you figure it out, kind of thing. That when you Google that, it's going to go really well.
Say
like
Elias
it'll be great.
Pope.
No, it will
So,
not.
yeah.
It will not say that. It will. So you know, I was always of the mindset, not the mindset of speak it into existence.
Yeah.
Although I believe in that, the reality is, man, I had no idea what I was doing, and I just decided to say I was going to do it. And then when you put work in, you do it. Like it really isn't that difficult. And I didn't know it at first. Like I say it now because I've been successful in a few things. But the reality is that when you decide to, and all of you in this room have decided to put some effort into something. When you truly put effort into something, like, you win. You might pivot, you might adjust, like there might be something else. But if you really work hard and you surround yourself with good people, you win. Like it really is that simple. Like there's no like secret to it all. Yeah. So, you know, the everything you're saying and us meeting was all part of this simple plan. The simple plan of, man, I'm ready to work as hard as I can to make this happen. And I wanted to meet everybody on Greenville Avenue, like anybody. The first Saturday HG opened on Greenville Avenue, somebody got stabbed to death at close.
What?
Right out front. The front. Yeah.
I remember this.
Greenville Avenue was rough. And
Yeah.
everybody asked me why I was opening on Greenville Avenue. And so a group of people from a club down the street that shouldn't have been open went out and stabbed somebody right in front of the patrons that were leaving my establishment. And I thought I was done. And then I wasn't. And I kept fighting, and we helped, you know, that group not kill other people and do all things. And everybody thought we were done, and we kept working really hard. And then, you know, 4 weeks later, for some reason, the credit card company that we were utilizing added 2 decimal points to everybody's Monday order. It was a wild glitch that that I've never heard of ever happening. But if you came in for $10 at HG 8 weeks after we opened, on a Monday, it was $800. And your bank gave us that money. They didn't give us the money, but they took it out of your account. So if you ate for $200, that was $20,000.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's a real thing. You can call NCR and they will tell you the story.
What?
So 2 days later from this happening, people started calling me and say, "Hey, man, y'all took $20,000 out of my bank account." And I know my bank account, it had like $7 in it. So I'm like, no, that's not real. And so I just started, you know, I'm talking at the host stand on people that are telling me that they got charged $20,000 for their $200
It's
whatever
good.
tab.
It's not that good.
Yeah, it was not that good. And I thought everything was over. So 187 people that night got charged 2 decimal points over. Their bank took it. It was so bad that a majority of their banks wouldn't give their money back for a few days. One of them was getting married 2 days later and going on their honeymoon, and I took all their money. Or the glitch took all their money. And so we talked to every single person. We got the CEO of NCR to come down, and this little tiny restaurant in Greenville Avenue, 2,600 square feet, had this crazy crisis control and figured out a way to make it all right. Wow. And not one person sued me or anything. And people still talk about, you know, this is why I go to HG, because they did it right. Even though I didn't have $20,000 to give them, I didn't have anything. But we worked and I fought for them until they got their money back. And then after that moment, I didn't think anything could be worse. Yeah. So, like, then
we hit it. We hit the bottom.
It just didn't matter. So, you know, when she asked me to be a part of this, I was like, man, I don't have much to offer except for I'm just going to keep telling everybody in the class that what they're like every time they're doing something wrong, that's fine. Do it right. Like just keep going. Yeah. And you just got to keep going and keep going. And you got to try this and you got to try this and you got to try this. And that's it. Like it really is that simple. Totally.
Good.
Gross.
Good. I love it. It's a lot. I didn't know that one.
Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah, obviously.
I only tell it to
everything about it.
My team is probably the only people I know. Yeah. I still have an Excel spreadsheet with 187 phone numbers in my computer with how we talked to each one of them, who likes me and who doesn't. And some of them will be at mock dining next week. 100%. Yeah. I have great relationships with like 50 of those people.
It's a big deal. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so this building, we're going to pivot.
Cool.
Was built in 1888.
Yep.
Yes. Lois Greenville, historic-ish neighborhood. I don't know if it's officially historic. Is it?
It's pretty historic.
It's close.
Officially.
Culpeppers in Rockwall, historic of sorts. What is it with you in historic buildings? What's going on here? Is it on purpose? Is it there's something about the bones? Is the concept? What is it? Is the history guiding the idea, or is your vision fitting into the history?
I think there's intentionality behind the journey, right? So like, it's not, I didn't seek out this building by any means.
Yeah.
So my buddy, a guy named Nick, started a company called Common Desk. So if you all know
Never
Common
heard of
Desk,
it.
yeah, super great company. So Nick's dad, oh my God, this is the best day ever.
All right, pause.
Yeah, sorry.
Drink break.
Nick's dad owns 3 Chick-fil-A's, one in Rockwall. I'm going to tell this story because it's super fun. Well, he owns one in Rockwall, one in Forney, and then one somewhere. So Nick's dad was the first double unit franchisee for Chick-fil-A and the first 3-unit Chick-fil-A franchisee. Nick's dad was he had the Mesquite store is actually the #1 Chick-fil-A in the nation.
Wow.
When Nick's dad owned it. Crazy. You don't want to know the revenue. It's dumb. Nick's family is amazing. So, we connected up, right away. Great story. Great family. He created Common Desk during the pandemic.
Wait, did I introduce you guys?
To Nick?
Yes.
Maybe.
Do you remember this?
Maybe.
I did.
Then you did.
No, do you remember for real?
I don't know. There's a lot of things that go on in
Well, we
things.
connected. I was like, you should talk to Nick.
Oh, no, 100%. Yeah,
I did.
did.
I'm not
connect
making
with
that up.
Yeah, 100%. No, you're right. You're right. She's
All
right.
We're good. We got connections. It's all about connections.
Lots of connections.
Yeah, it's all about the connections.
You've connected me to a lot of people.
It's good.
She tried to get my permit through today. And it almost worked.
We almost tried.
I'm getting it tomorrow. Probably,
gonna get
maybe
it
because of
tomorrow.
you.
No, that's right.
Oh, I'm spilling this.
It's okay.
So anyway,
Sorry.
we were here during the pandemic,
Yeah.
and we fell in love with the building. We loved it. And then Nick was like, "Hey, you really should open a restaurant and a bar down here." There's like nobody around, and it was a pandemic. And we said,
Yeah.
"Nope, like we're not going to do that. We're just going to try to survive. We're going to do that." And then we got to know the family behind this building. So the August brothers own this building. Their dad is storied individual. Helped sell a real estate company to Blackstone. Did really well. They are 3 brothers who truly care about longevity in the purchases they make, which is, if you know anything about development, it's not a thing in Dallas. Everybody wants to build to sell. And these guys are looking for legacy properties. They're multi-generational. They're not buying things to flip. They're buying things to make great. And they want to do something better in each one of the properties. So I can't take any credit for that. When it comes to historical spaces, man, I love authenticity. I just love the vibe. I love knowing the story behind it. We internally get probably way too consumed with the concept. When you talk about conceptually, man, we love it. We love everything. Like the Tina's Continental, I can talk to you about 12 hours, how Carla Gallegos, me and Samir Patel went to Atlanta and tried to figure out what a great martini bar looks like and correlated it with the 1970s Lincoln Continental program, where you could go into a Ford or Lincoln store and you either custom made your Lincoln or you bought one made by a designer, which was Cartier, Pucci, Bill Blass, Givenchy. And you could, every year they came out with a new version, right? And there's no better way to describe the martini than that. You either get exactly what you want, or you get exactly what this expert behind the bar has created. And so we define the whole entire concept by that. And then we bought a Lincoln, and it's super dope.
And casual.
Yeah, but that's what we love to do. Like, we don't have restaurants outside of Dallas. Not that we can't do that, but we really like spending time on the concept and why we're doing it, and the historical nature of the buildings work well in that journey. And this one's particularly well because Rockwall, 42-year-old steakhouse that we bought because we grew up going there. We love it. This building created the largest cotton presses in the world. And the Continental Gin Company created cotton presses. They shipped them to my hometown, Greenville, Texas. I worked in the cotton gins next to my dad's shop when I was a kid cleaning stuff, and then I worked in my dad's shop. We bought like a whole bunch of like fire doors and things like that. If you go on a HG's rooftop, you're gonna dine on a fire door from the largest cotton press in the world. that was built here in this building.
That's
so
amazing.
Super fun thing.
Yeah.
Like we geek out. We don't do a good job of communicating that to the guest, and I don't even know if the guest cares, but we care, and we really have
Okay,
fun.
but the first time we went to Culpeppers, all of the menu items are 89 cents. And I
82.
said 82
cents.
sorry, 82.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute, is that when Culpeppers started?
That's when Culpeper started.
And Elias was like, yes, year 1982 it started.
Yep.
Yeah, and I was like, there's details matter.
A lot of details. We care.
Good.
That Budweiser sign is original Budweiser sign.
Love it.
Like from 30 years ago. A guy named Dauber Stevenson bought that. Every piece of
Dauber.
decor in this building came from the original Culpeper.
Yeah.
There's 2 things that we bought to bring into here. Everything else is original Culpeper. And again, we do this because we just love doing it. Like, and we hope it brings authenticity to the program. But and we like it. I don't know who killed that thing, but
Not us.
we have it.
Yeah, it's good. It's here.
It's cool.
Okay, so in this world of the creative process, we talk a lot about this, like the restaurant dining experience and the customer journey of what it takes to get a human being out of their homes, through Dallas traffic, into a restaurant, at a table. They're sitting, they're eating, they want to actually eat more, they have dessert, they pay, they leave, all of that whole thing. That's one part of the journey. You have also the other part of this whole experience, that there's this whole ecosystem around what it just takes for us to sit at one of your restaurants and have a meal. So there's this whole system around it, of all just around the dinner plate, right? That's kind of what I'm trying to do. Are we catching this? What's your favorite part of that whole process?
Favorite part's hard. We spend a lot of time on trying to make somebody feel really good after a hard day.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
Yeah.
And I don't know always how to do that, but I know how to make me feel good after a hard day. And so our restaurants aren't high end. They're not fine dining. We don't try to do a price point that's not approachable. It's not cheap, but it's something you can do multiple times a week. We spend a lot of time sitting in the different areas and contemplating why we're doing what we're doing, to create something that allows somebody after a hard day to have a fun conversation with somebody they love. And that is super important. It's more important to us than anything else, unfortunately. Like, again, we're getting better at food. We're getting better at beverage. We're phenomenal at beverage. I'm going to be very clear.
Oh,
the beverages
please.
that you're drinking,
Yes.
this team of
Cheers.
beverage professionals are insane. And they care about the drink like we care about that experience, right? And, there's not a lime that you drink that wasn't squeezed a day ago at Hero. We go through like 30,000 cases a year or something of just limes that we squeeze. But all of that is because, and we don't promote it, we don't talk about it. It's just, I want somebody to be able to come in, enjoy time with their family, enjoy time with their friends, and when they leave, they go, man, that was refreshing. Like, I'm going to be better because of that. Or, man, we won, and that was a great celebration. I think that's what restaurants are for. Like, that's why you go outside of your house. Like, you go to get in a group, dress a certain way, do this thing. Again, we're not high end. We just want to be there for you in your hard day so that you can have a better outcome.
I love it.
Like, that's it.
Love it. Cheers. Okay.
Cheers.
Drink break.
Okay.
Okay. So you got to, I think it had been a while since we had talked. And then I said, Elias, can we meet for coffee? Do you want to come to class every week for 16 weeks and commit to a whole semester of being in our class? Tell us a little bit about, you walked in, you did not get your degree.
I did not.
You're not collegiate, you said, that's your quote.
Yeah.
And you then
I'm not consistent.
You kind of taught.
And unfortunately, I feel like you had to be consistent to go to class.
Well,
Like, I'm not really bad
attendance sometimes matters.
at that.
Effort matters more than attendance. I will say.
good at
I'll say
effort.
that. Put me on the record. Tell me what surprised you about being a part of our classroom situation and what that looked like for
So,
you.
I don't know if it was a surprise. It was what I was looking for, right? The reason I quickly said yes is because I knew you, and that I was going to be able to spend time with you once a week and be refreshed. Like be in a scenario where everybody was growing together, and that was going to be refreshing. So I wanted to be a part of that. And I didn't know if I could add anything, but I was really excited about me being refreshed. So I decided to do that. And then, you know, whether it's high school, college, whatever, it's not that when I say things like I didn't finish college.
Yeah.
I mean, I absolutely love growing. Like
Yeah.
when you have this passion for growth, you become a collegiate, whether you go to college or not.
Yeah.
Like you just seek to be better and stronger and faster and all those kind of things. And you are that. And when you ask me to do things, I'm going to be there. Like I'm going to be a part of that. As long as I can. And it was cool to go to class and see a group of individuals that, man, they were in their industries doing their thing, but also they're eagerly trying to grow.
Yeah.
And that was refreshing. I got to talk to our team, and on Thursdays I was excited.
Yeah.
Excited. It was good to be a part of it. So that's it. Like
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love you. So you're awesome. Let's go do that.
Oh gosh, stop. Okay. Do you consider yourself a designer?
Oh yes.
Yes. Yeah.
I do. No.
Yeah.
I love building something.
Yes.
I thought, you know how everybody adds romance to everything? Like social media has turned everything into this like big thing.
Yeah.
When, man, my dad is the best designer I've ever met in my life. And when he's on the ranch and he's looking for a solution, and he's got a welder and some metal, and he needs to have a sharper blade so that he can dig deeper and plant his seed, like he figures out a way. He's built things that do things that I don't know Elon couldn't do. Like I don't know, you know, he does it in a different way. But like when you're focused on creating a solution, you're a designer. And you're not focused on somebody else finding the solution.
Yeah.
You're creating the solution. And that's what I learned that I don't know if I'd answer that without the class that we did together. That was super fun.
Yeah.
Recognizing when people are looking for a solution and create something to find that, or whether it's an Excel program or anything, or, a process that allows 5 different people in the kitchen to produce food.
Totally.
That takes a lot of different things and come up at the same time to be all hot. Man, that's design. Like that's what it is.
Absolutely.
So it was super fun.
Yeah. Justin and I talk a lot about how we both have 2 degrees in design and how we get to run a program that teaches people who don't have design degrees to be designers, and how important it is that you don't need to be this designerly snob that says you're so lucky to work with me. But our goal is to say we're so lucky to work with you. And that's what true design feels like. That's what it feels like to be that effort, or that goal is what helps people feel designed for. And
100%.
that idea of being designed for is pretty powerful.
That's exactly
And when
right.
you feel that to me, and a lot of our students have heard this of design, to me is hospitality.
100%.
So these things are interchangeable to an extent of sorts, but that to be designed for is to feel taken care of, to feel seen, feel that you belong here,
To feel
that we want you
appreciated.
here. Yes, yes.
Like when you walk into a space and it's effortless
Yeah.
to do what you need to do,
Yeah.
you're excited about it.
Yeah.
Like that's a fun thing.
Totally. Okay, good. Okay, so we talked a little bit about when I first met you and these books that you were reading all the time, but then there's this other new book that came out. Has anyone watched The Bear or seen The Bear? Love it. But also, you might not love The Bear, I don't know.
I don't hate the bear.
You don't hate The Bear?
No.
Okay, that's good. That's a good response. But Will Guidara wrote a book called Unreasonable Hospitality. And we had talked about that was a great book. We actually bought that book for all Maddie students to read, not last year, but the year before, and just trying to create common reads. And then my first year when I started, I was like, what book are we going to get for everyone? And it was the Danny Myers book, Setting the Table, because I put that in my thesis. I put it in this idea of how we need to know our community matters and how it all goes together. What books are you reading now, if you even have time to read? And tell us what's inspiring you now.
So I was actually talking about this a while ago. I just finished the the founder of Texas Roadhouse wrote a book.
We just talked about this.
It was so great.
It was
so great. Yeah,
what
such
is
a
his
good
name?
dude. I don't know. Okay. I can't remember. So reading comprehension didn't work there. No, I'm just kidding. I can't remember his name, but I really enjoyed the book.
Okay.
His journey was super fun. Like I love that. What other books did I just finish? So my partner is a young, phenomenal individual named Samir Patel, who Samir
yes.
is awesome. He's a wonder kid that I met. I'll tell you the story. It's probably better than the book, but so Samir opened a restaurant on Greenville Avenue in like 2017. So anybody that was going to open a restaurant on Greenville Avenue, I was going to get to know. Man, I'm a student of the game. Like I want to know everything about hospitality, every restaurant. If you're a restaurant owner, a builder, or whatever, I just want to talk to you. I want to be a part of it. So I met this duo, and it was Samir he was 32, and his partner, who was a garbage.
His partner.
Who was a garbage human. And unfortunately, I'm going to be very real. The garbage human wasn't good at taking care of people. And Samir cared. Like this kid was Goldman Sachs from Manhattan who was looking for a business and didn't have enough money to buy anything sexy. So he invested in a really small restaurant with his now wife's sister's boyfriend, who's a garbage human.
All right.
And I hope he hears this. And then they opened this thing. And they opened it, and it wasn't going well. People were calling him in Manhattan and saying, "Hey man, it's not going well. I don't know what to do." And this guy sold his apartment, flew to Texas, and never worked in a restaurant before, and got his hands dirty and took care of his team. Like magical human. And so when I heard that story and the fact that he was making money at $23,000 a week, which is wild in the industry, I was like, all right, this kid's good. I like him. So fell in love with Samir Patel. And as soon as I could, I bought his partner out. We became partners.
What was it? Garbage Shoes? Is that was his name? Oh, human.
Garbage human, yeah. He just was not a good dude. A lot of not good dudes in lots of industries. Like it just is what it is. And when we came together, what he created was this like eagerness to grow. And so we started sharing books. So where I was reading Danny Myers and Will, which is Danny's, protege, sold the thing, like all these hospitality books. This dude's reading, founders and like hedge fund leaders, and I'm like, what's a hedge fund? I don't even know. And so we've read really great books and had some really good. It's not the book that's super great. It's the discussion with your counterpart who's really eager to debate the book that has made us great. And so we find those books that we both like reading. Obviously the Texas Roadhouse one was great. And then I can't remember.
What's the Panera Bread one?
Yeah, that was great too.
What is it
I don't
called?
remember his name.
What's it called, Joel?
Phenomenal book.
Knowing What Matters.
Knowing What Matters?
It was great books.
It was
I'm
good.
really bad at knowing the books.
Title.
We just
it's
read
good
a lot.
enough that we don't remember the title.
My favorite in the last year was Shoe Dog.
Shoot, what is that?
It's Phil Knight's book.
Oh,
If you haven't read Phil Knight's book, man,
okay.
it's so good.
Sign us up.
It's so good.
Okay.
But
Okay. All right, so one thing that we talk a lot about with anything that we do, and every year we have a Maddie shirt. Sometimes it just says Maddie, sometimes it says things like human-centered, actors, factors, issues, or things that are on our book, are on our shirt. We have one shirt that says outcome agnostic that gets a lot of people like, what does that mean? But what I want our shirt, this is a teaser maybe, I'm looking straight at Justin on this. Our future shirt is, what is the goal? Because I'm always asking everybody in our classes, well, what's the goal? So you're going to do a thing, well, what's the goal? What's the goal? What are we trying to accomplish? So for you, and you kind of talked about this already, but what's the goal? What's the goal for opening all these amazing restaurants, all these amazing experiences? What's the goal for you?
So when you're passionate about growing others, like that's the goal, right? To grow others. to sit here in front of you and tell you that I don't want to own a really big boat would be stupid. Like, I want a big boat, a huge boat, one that goes in the ocean, a big boat, one that's measured in meters, and I'm going to live on that boat. Like, we're going to do that. I'm going to do that by helping others, not taking advantage. Like, that's a passion, and I hope to get the boat. But man, I really want a big boat.
Good.
Like, I really want a big boat.
Good.
And they all know. Like, we all talk about it together.
Yeah.
But they also know that we're all trying to be on that boat together.
Yeah.
Like, this boat will fit everybody.
Yeah,
Like, let's go.
We'll fit. It might be tight, but we'll fit.
It's a horrible answer, but it's the truth.
Oh my gosh. Okay. With all that you have done, with all that you've built and explored, what are you most proud of? And what are you most excited for next?
You know, I'm most proud of proud's hard. I'm really excited about the team that we have and what we're building together. When you're an eternal optimist and focused on growing, I don't know if you're ever really super proud of anything. Like, every time I walk into a place, I'm pointing out 27 not things that I'm mad about, that I'm failing at giving them the capacity to do excellently. You know, whether it be like, we don't have enough money to replace this AC or these things. Like, when you own stuff, like, and you don't have unlimited funds because the reality of cash flow is hard, like, you have to choose between things. And when you don't get to give talented people everything they deserve, it's hard. So, you know, I'm proud of everything that we do. The most proud is recognizing that we have a long way to go. The focus and what I really want to happen is figuring out a cash flow scenario that allows incredible people over here to have the means to be unstoppable. And it's hard, because hospitality is not a marginally great business. Like, you work really hard and you have to scrap. But we're going to figure out how to offset that, I think.
Okay.
I'll be proud when that happens.
I bet it happens sooner than you think.
I hope so. We got some fun things working. If y'all need food at home, we have HG packaged goods.
Talk about it, please.
So yeah, if you need a meal program, it's cheaper than any meal program. It's real food. It's better. It'll fuel you. Just Google HG packaged goods, and we'll get it to your doorstep.
Is there an opportunity to be an investor in your
There is.
restaurants?
There is.
Tell us about
Due
it.
to Samir Patel's investment. So we have great partners, and in anything you do, no matter what you want to go to, if you want to go start something, you got to find money. You got to, your family, friends, some hedge fund dude or whatever. We have been blessed by having 3 really awesome partners, and comes a time where you want to grow bigger, and so you need more money. And so we're trying to figure out a better way of doing that. We don't mind giving up pieces, but we really want to create a group of individuals that love what we're doing and can profit off that. So we looked on the online raise. So there's a lot of great raises out there that are online. Unfortunately, they're set up in a way that don't really return funds. Like, you're not, online raises, I'll just say
I don't know what an online raise is.
Okay, cool. So
okay.
a group called Brewdog, if y'all are familiar. If you're not, Google Brewdog. It's actually, I think, Scotland or Ireland. Somebody would tell me if they were here.
Not in the U.S.
But they raised a ton of money online to create this great beer company and all this kind of stuff. But equity-based, didn't really return the funds to those investing in them. They just built a great community that helped them along the way. And we liked the theory of raising capital from people who believed in our mission instead of raising capital from people who wanted to make money. We wanted to be able to return money to people who believed in our vision. So that was our first thing. So we have a launch. I think it's tomorrow it ends, or the next day. So if you want to do
Sunday.
it, do it now.
Do it tonight, now.
But we're building a restaurant alliance, HG Supply Company. We believe in HG. We believe in simple foods, simple ingredients that fuel your life, your next adventure. And that's what HG is all about. And so we put that online and have raised a great amount, and it's been exciting. But it's a raise that's not equity based, it's a return based that we're on the hook for. So no matter what, the people who love that place or are part of that community, they get to make money whether it works or it doesn't. And we did it differently than what's been online before, and we're excited about that. So it's a 1.4% return, or 1.4 times return. Obviously, Samir put it together. I did not, and it's great. It's an exciting time. So we're looking to do that more often with particular raises. So
cool.
Hopefully that works.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys, we learned a lot. This is great. I am done with I have a million other questions I could ask. But is there anything that you wish I would have asked you or that you want to ask me?
Yes. I'll ask you a question.
Okay, go.
All right, cool. Why in the world would you go to Deep Ellum and believe in creating what you created on Greenville Avenue? What did you do well? What did your team do well? And what you wish you could have changed?
That's a lot. That's like a whole other event.
Okay, I'm sorry. You want me to ask a different question?
No, that's okay.
Okay, cool.
I can ask. Okay. First of all, you said team. In Deep Ellum, on Greenville, you were my team. There was a team we created. Okay, should I do the quick overview? So, as a part of my research project, I helped build what turned into the Lois Greenville Collective, which the only reason it happened was because I had a huge meeting. I designed what I thought was an amazing invitation, like a one-panel invitation. I hand-delivered it to every business on Lois Greenville. Did you know at that time there were 76 businesses on Lois Greenville? Would not have expected that. But I hand-delivered every once because I wanted to make sure no one could say, I didn't get that invite. And I said, yes, you did. It was in your mailbox. I put it there. And then that ended up turning into the collective. And we had a big meeting. And the funny thing I love about this is I ended up getting a meeting with the councilman at the time, Philip Kingston. And I had no idea what a councilman was. I literally had no clue. And I was like, I'm supposed to talk to this guy. I'm like, all right, I'll talk to this guy. And he said, we love that you're doing this. We want more of this. And the idea was, could we just get everyone to talk to each other? What would it look like if we actually got to talk to each other? Because I talked to all these businesses on Lois Greenville and said, what's missing? And everyone said, we don't talk to each other. And the first big meeting we had that I invited everyone to, my big win, too, is that Sammy Mandel from Greenville Avenue Pizza Company and Simon McDonald from Libertine are on the same side of the street for over 6 years, and they had never met each other until that meeting. And we're planning this meeting, and I said, I invited Philip Kingston, and Elias is like, we don't like that guy.
You can say it.
I was like, okay. And he's like, but we're going to still listen to him, but it was part of playing the role a little bit. And I there's lots of levels with that, but he came, it was a lot of layers, a lot of things. But in that meeting, we said, what do you guys want this to be? So I did not come in and say, this is what I think it should be. I came in and said, what do you all think it should be? And how can design play a role to bring that all together? And what everyone said, we had them fill out a quick survey that said, what are the top 3 things you want to do? And they said cleanliness, cleanliness, communication, and cleaning up, and then I think homelessness something. Or
safety.
Safety. Yes, safety. That's exactly right. And so we basically created this whole thing to exist, to communicate to other people that we existed. So that was the whole thing. And now I forget your question.
No, I said, when you went there, why did you decide to go to Deep Ellum and tackle that?
Oh, okay. So part of that was it was working in Deep Ellum, on Lois Greenville, and we ended up creating this whole thing called the Lois Greenville Collective. We incorporated as a nonprofit 501c6, not a C3, which is a merchant group. And part of that original meeting required us to say who's interested, who's going to say yes. And in that meeting, Elias's team, most of them said yes. And because you guys said yes is the only reason. We had other people, but you guys saying yes made it happen. And so we did that thing, and I said, I'm here until I graduate. I'm here for free until I graduate. And then one of the property owners, who I remember this also, sorry, this is your event, but now I'm going to start.
This is great.
So part of my process was I need to interview these like non-competing business owners. And so there was a transit bike company across the street at the time, Matt Tobin at The Blind Butcher, Sammy Mandel at Gapco, Simon McDonald at Libertine and Elias. And I'm going to forget her name from Mudsmith.
Brooke Humphreys.
Yeah. I did get a meeting with her. It took forever, but I got one. And then I also met with Andrus Brothers, who is the property owner on basically one side of the street. And then I said, there's this other guy, John Hetzel, who I invited tonight, but couldn't make it tonight because he also has kids. And I said, and I'm going to go meet with you. It was like very snowy. I'm from Colorado. Snow here. I'm like, what's the problem? When it snows in Dallas, turns out no one shows up to anything. So it snowed that day, and I had a meeting with John. I had a meeting with John, and I still walked my way up to his office. And he's like, I'm not there. There's no way. This is before Zoom happened. This is before whatever. I was like, well, we can have a phone call. And he said literally, good luck getting anyone organized on Greenville. It'll never happen. And I said, challenge accepted, let's go. And I said, let's just see what happens. So you set the bar here, great. That makes it easier for me to bust your bar and go up here. And then he's like, oh my God, you totally changed my mind there. So we made this whole thing happen on Lois Greenville. If there are Lois Greenville banners, also it's called Lois Greenville because we had a meeting that said, we're not Lower Greenville, we're Lowest Greenville, and not in a bad way, in a good way, but 100%. We're going to claim Lowest Greenville as the thing. And then, so we claimed it, now it's on banners. The banners exist because Sammy is the president of the thing, anyway, it all still exists. I get a call from John Hetzel that said, I'm so mad at this lady right now. Would you consider being the executive director of the Deep Ellum Foundation? And I was like, what is the Deep Ellum Foundation? And I started searching this whole thing. But before that happened, Joel and I were driving around, and we had a moment, and I said, what if we could do what we did on Greenville and Deep Ellum? And so growing up in Colorado, living in downtown Denver for a long time, Deep Ellum was always like the closest thing to what I knew growing up. I was like, man, Deep Ellum is like in 16 blocks is downtown Denver, all of Denver. And I'm like, man, that would be awesome. And I was like, what if we could do it in Dallas, in Deep Ellum? And then John's like, do you want to do this thing? And I was like, oh my God, what is the thing? And I was like, are you going to pay me? That was the first question I had. Yeah, he was like, I'll pay you. And I was like, okay, great. And anyway, it turned into a whole thing. And I said, maybe we could do it. When I started, I was told I had to, wait, can I tell this whole story? I was told with someone put their feet on my desk and said, you need to get rid of homelessness. You need to tear down the highway, and you need to turn Crowdus into a park. And I said, where are the restrooms in this building? I don't know where to go. Like, what's going on here? And so, and I was also told by that same person, do not talk to any of the business owners. And I was like, well, just because you have different lease agreements with them doesn't mean I have a different relationship with them. And so I ended up getting to know everybody. And that was part of it. It was this idea of we did it on Lois Greenville. It worked so well. If we could apply that same methodology in Deep Ellum, what could happen? So I think that answered. I don't know if that answered your question.
The reason I asked the question for a reason. And it was just maybe there's 3 people in the room that absolutely will understand. We're doing the same.
Are you gonna make me cry?
No.
Okay.
We're doing the same thing. Like when you decide to go after something, you're doing the same thing. Like that's what was so fun about meeting these guys at MADI. It's like, no, man, you just decide to go do something and make something greater, and that's what you did. Like I don't care why she did Deep Ellum. I know why she did Deep Ellum. She did it because it was bigger, better, stronger, and she moved on a path that added value to the people around her, and that's what she wanted to do. And I think we have to all understand that whether it's a graduate program defined by design or a restaurant that we're opening, like it's got to be a mission to be greater than what we are, and that greatness comes from helping others and defining a path forward. And regardless of who puts their legs on the table, we're just going to keep grinding until it's right. And all of us know that. This is not something that is new. There's no book that can define it any better than what you just said. No, you came in as a graduate student not knowing a lot of the things that you're talking about. And now look at you, you're teaching grad students how to go and live a better life. Like that's what we're doing. And so it's exciting to be a part of the conversation, and you're exciting to listen to. So that was great. You did great.
You did great.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're done.
I think people need drinks, man.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
Okay, the food has been covered. It will be uncovered, and let's do whatever we want to do.
Yeah, there's more food. Thank you for coming. I know there's a lot of conversation. We've never done this before. I've never done this before.
No.
I appreciate y'all being in the building. Next week, we're going to figure it out and try to open. I would love for y'all to come back and enjoy this. I checked the menu prices. It's super approachable.
Yeah.
Super fun. I really want to serve you guys.
It's gluten friendly.
It is. I mean, sometimes.
Can I say one other thing too?
Yeah, please do.
Thank you guys for coming. I know this is a big deal to come. This is what we want to do in MADI. This is what our program is about. It's about partnering with amazing people in industry that are not a part of SMU, and that we are bringing this into this space. We want to teach this. We want to talk about this. We want to encourage this. We want to make this happen. And that said, we have an info session next Friday. If anyone wants to sign up, applications for our program end July 15th. And we just want to keep doing this. So no matter what, we will always keep doing this. So thank you for coming. Thank you, Elias.
No, thank you.
For letting us be here. Thank you.
And just so everybody knows, my oldest daughter goes to SMU, so I don't have anything against any college. I'm super excited. I'm proud of her.
We're good to hang out.
All right, let's
for a
grab
minute.
drinks.
All right,
Yeah,
let's
come
go.
on.
Thank you.